So do you want me to broadcast it?
Yeah, I think we'll go.
Okay, so I'll be going on mute now.
Okay. So I start. You don't introduce. You don't.
No, you will be starting it.
ठीक है चलें. And would I know how many people are watching and what's the number? और मेरे पास वो होंगे?
वो participants में I think आ जाएगा.
जी attendees का आपको नजर आ रहा होगा ना यहाँ पे, तो उसमें नंबर तो आ जाएगा.
ठीक है हाँ चलें ठीक है. So I know when to start.
जी. आप कोई भी प्रॉब्लम हो तो आप चैट में मुझसे डिस्कस कर लीजिएगा या टेक्स्ट कर लीजिएगा whatever.
या चैट में आप आ रही हो हाँ ठीक है you're there. सही है ठीक है.
Okay.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to Marketing 201. So the format for today is that we are going to create a demo for an online class, specifically my class, which is Marketing 201 for all the freshmen. And we're going to see if you can get a flavor of how classes are run at LUMS online specifically. All right, so I have at least 100 plus attendees right now. I am going to start sharing my screen and we will start interacting. You have the chat box, use it to ask or any concerns or urgent concerns. Otherwise, we will have a Q&A session at the end. You have an option under your screen right next to chat. So you can ask question and answers through there that you want us to answer. Okay, Ji, let's start. I am assuming all of you can see my slides. Am I zoomed in? Can you see it? Maybe Isha, you can tell me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I missed. Just a minute. So we have students raising hands also. You hold those questions. You will type it in Q&A if you want to, and I will come right back at you. Okay. Just let me figure out where my slides have gone. Okay, I think the size of the attendees has really pulled my system down and my slides are not working. Just give me a minute. Okay, this should work now. Okay, guys, you see the screen. I want you to join me in the lecture with typing this in a separate, either use your phone or use a separate window, ahaslides.com/marketing201. I will know when you sign in and it would tell me that how many people are with me in the slides. Just one request, do not move forward. Go with me, each slide, I'll take you along, okay? So I want all of you to type in ahaslides.com/marketing201 and then we'll start the lecture. So I see 3 people have signed in, great. Okay, so more will come in as people keep joining in. Remind them that they have to sign in and join us as ahaslides.com/marketing201. All right, so tell me, what do you guys think marketing is for you? Just top of your mind, what do you think market stands? Okay, somebody sent me a word. Marketing is publicizing. Okay, interesting, close. What else? Very common understanding of marketing is that it's advertising, publicizing, promotion, exposure. I like exposure a lot. We can build on that. Selling your product, excellent. 4 P's, who is this guy or girl? I want to know. Storytelling, brilliant. Marketing is a storytelling art that we acquire over years. It's a skill set, it's not easy. Wonderful, keep them coming. It's getting better than synergies, beautiful. Increasing reach. For somebody who hasn't taken a marketing class, guys, you are pretty spot on. Advertising, publicizing, promoting in the best way. Yes, promotion is part of it. Brilliant. A sad capitalist scheme. Interesting. We should have a one-on-one on that. Okay, why is it? I mean, again, I think it's the lens that you view it with, but yes, marketing does have lots of colors and lots of different meanings for individuals if you want to look through that lens. But I like the general direction this is going. So can you see? So that's a lot of vocabulary that is being added. Ahmed, I see your hand, but I'd rather not take questions in between. But you can type in the chat and I will return to it because then my slides go all out of balance. Okay? So do type in your questions, and there's a Q&A section also. Oh, wow. Okay. So I have 115 people currently online telling me what marketing is. An art of persuasion. Definitely. Definitely. Persuading someone to buy. Selling is a very common synonymous term used for marketing. We think marketing is equivalent to selling. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Broadcasting, another way of promotion. Wow. Okay, we can stop now. Okay, I do have lots of chats and hands raised. I love how all of you want to say something. Marketing in SSC. Again, guys, if it's not a compulsory course, you can come in as an elective, take it if you're interested, but you can get an idea of how we're going to be running, interacting online, okay? No matter what the content is. Okay, wow. Attracting people's minds, promotion to make profit. Profit is a very important part, guys, and we'll talk why business objectives are profit driven, and they have to be. Okay? Yehudi Sazish, a very, very popular one. I would definitely not disagree. Who knows, right? You never know. Okay, stop. Thank you very much for quickly telling me what your perspectives on marketing are. Now I'm going to give you an academic definition of marketing, not a very boring one, but I will try and keep it simple. So if anybody asks you the next time, what is marketing? Or what do you know about marketing? This is a safe answer, and I'm sure you can remember this also. Marketing is a core function of creating value, of communicating value, of delivering value, and building long-term relationships. Some interesting comments or criticism have been that while you're creating value, communicating value, and delivering value, relationships are either automatically built or automatically spoiled. So if consumers don't find enough value, there's no relationship to salvage, right? But if you do give them consistent value time and time again, suddenly you discover that you have a relationship with them. So again, this is what marketing is. And we have modules in our course, a whole module covering how to create value. There's another module talking about communicating values and then delivering and then building relationships. So when and if you take the course, we will go deeper into these ideas. Now, if you can move on to the slides with me, the same address, ahaslides.com/marketing201. Who will tell me that how do we create value? Put yourself as a consumer in the middle of this whole debate of marketing and creating value. And tell me, what does value mean for you? How can it be created? Let's talk about online and offline learning. You think campus learning is more valuable? By providing quality, you can create value, yes. So online learning has less or zero value for you. Campus value is more valuable, campus learning, sorry. So where does it come from? Increasing convenience, that's a good one. By investing what into it? Customer relationships, but relationships are based on something, right? Value doesn't come out of thin air. Investing money and time, perspectives, relatable issues and solutions, good repetition, exactly, gaining trust. These are building blocks. Where does foundational deep core value come from? Irreplaceable products. Is there really an irreplaceable product? I think everything has a substitute and can be a substitute. I have lots of chat comments, guys. Okay, you're still debating the SEC versus debate. Forget about the content, guys. Enjoy the 15-minute micro session that has been planned. Okay, G, providing quality, understanding customer needs. Oh my, okay, who's that? That person, you'll stop at that. Understanding consumer needs is a foundation or building block of creating value. I cannot create value sitting in my office room for an end user or for an end consumer or a student. I need to get to know you before I can define value for you. So a lesson which might be very valuable for me, when I deliver it, it might not be valuable at all. Aisha, I'm going to give you the mic. Why don't you say something? Aisha Islam. Ji, I can hear you. Go ahead. Hello, Aisha? Okay, we have Tala raising his hands. Guys, I have at least 260 participants, but not all of you have signed into AHA Slides. So why don't you look at top of my slides? There's a link there, ahaslides.com/marketing201. Please sign in so that you can join in. Ajit Allah, go ahead, open your mic and quickly. You have the floor for 30 seconds. By creating hype. We will debunk this myth also. Guys, you're raising your hands, but you're not speaking up. I'm not sure if you have the ability to speak up. Sorry, that was a mistake. It's okay. Take it. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you for helping. Okay, wow.
Am I loud and clear?
Yes, you are. Go ahead. You have a question for
Yes, ma'am. मुझे एक बात जो आपने बोली अभी, हमें क्या वैल्यू किस तरह ऐड कर सकते हैं, उसमें एक चीज ऐड करनी थी, शायद इन पॉइंट लिखा भी है लेकिन शायद आपकी नजर में नहीं आया वहां से, और वो मैंने ये बताना भी था और आपसे क्वेश्चन भी था कि अगर हम उस गैप की तरफ देखें जो हमारे में और कंज्यूमर में आ रहा है और जो अवेलेबल और हमारी प्रोडक्ट के बीच में है, चाहे वो क्वालिटी का हो, चाहे वो उसके यूज का हो, चाहे वो प्राइस का हो, चाहे वो कन्वीनियंस का हो, कि चाहे जिस तरह का भी हो, इट कैन बी ऑफ मेनी टाइप्स. तो अगर हम गैप की तरफ देखें तो हम फौरन उस चीज को फिल अप कर सकते हैं और वहां जाके पॉइंट अपना क्लियर कर सकते हैं.
बट गैप को आइडेंटिफाई करने के लिए आपको बहुत सारे स्टेप्स से गुजरना पड़ता है, बहुत सारे प्रोसेसेस से गुजरना पड़ता है. आई विल शो यू वन फ्रेमवर्क, बट यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट कि वैल्यू क्रिएशन में गैप्स होते हैं. मैं वैल्यू क्रिएट करूंगी एक अपने जहन में, एक द कंज्यूमर वुड हैव अ सर्टेन वैल्यू डेफिनेशन. व्हेन आई विल launch the product, the consumer and my value might have gaps. To fill those gaps, we have diagnostics. So let's talk about them. And these are a lot of absolutely brilliant responses. I think I should take a lesson from you guys on creating value because you are spot on. But I'm going to ask you to hold your typings now. Let's move on and let me tell you how do marketeers create value. We call it marketing mix. Marketing mix is our most favorite toolbox or toolkit for value creation. And whenever we think our value is dipping in the market, or we want to launch a new product and we want to create or disrupt a market by creating extra value, we go back to our toolkit. And the toolkit has 4 Ps. Interestingly, 4 Ps are product, which is the value we are offering to the consumer. Could be a service also, could be a physical product also. Price, the cost consumers will be asked to pay for that product, and the value that they will give up. Price is a very multi-layered and multi-dimensional tool, by the way, a very interesting one. We have at least 2 to 3 chapters on understanding price. Place, where will the product be available or sold from? It is very important in this day and age. Kahan pe, kaise place ho raha hai? Promotion. Now you have to tell the consumers that this is the product and this is what it will do for you. Why is it valuable for you? And you have to justify the price through your promotion. So after watching an ad or a campaign or a promotion, you can either think it's not worth my money or time, or you could be intrigued, or you could be curious about going after it. So by using Roger Federer, we add a lot of value to our price and product directly. So a promotional campaign can really narrow down value definition for the consumer. Or just gap ki aap baat kar rahe the, wo hum narrow kar sakte hain. Okay? So now I've given you this idea that there are 4 Ps in the toolkit. We call it the marketing mix, and this is how we create value. Now the gaps are also identified by analyzing these 4 Ps again and again. So after every 1 year, I will go back in the market, maybe earlier, maybe 6 months, and I'll double check my 4 Ps. Do consumers still find value in those 4 Ps or not? Okay, that's the idea of having a framework. Now, if you can find this slide in the other link that you've opened up, I want to quickly, you guys to tell me, which P do you think is most important for creating value? Product, placement, price, promotion, or all 4? So just quickly select one and submit so that we can have some assessment. No wonder promotion is the most popular one. We're going to quickly debunk some myths also after this. All 4 Ps. You guys are a star class. Nobody gets it right in the first class. All 4 Ps. Product is very important. Promotion is extremely important. Pick up a personal favorite if you're not sure. You think what needs to be worked. Amazon has made billions and literally their valuation is through the top by using the right placement. They haven't changed anything. Product was the same that Walmart was selling. Pricing and promotion was very similar also. The place changed and they're a multi-billion-dollar industry right now. So pick up your favorite P or all. Nicely done, guys. Nicely done. I'll tell you the answer to this. There's no right and wrong to picking up a 4P. Your consumers will decide what is important for them. And then you will go after that combination. Usman is raising his hand. I will give you a quick 30-second, Usman, airtime if you want to take the mic. G, are you there? Tala, I'm coming. Okay, so Usman's taking long. Tala, why don't you go first?
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear.
Yes, go for it.
Yes, ma'am. I went for the price option.
Okay.
क्योंकि मेरे ख्याल में प्रमोशन जब भी आप एक प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च करते हैं तो सबसे पहले उसकी वैल्यू क्रिएट करने के लिए आपको उसकी प्राइस देखनी पड़ेगी, क्योंकि जब अब आप मार्केट में आते हैं या तो ये होगा कि आप बिल्कुल नए हो या तो ये होगा कि आप एक ऑलरेडी वो प्रोडक्ट मार्केट में आया हुआ आप फिर एंटर हो रहे हो. जिस तरह जोंग आया, जोंग लेट आया, लेकिन जोंग बहुत ऊपर चला गया क्योंकि उसने सबसे पहले सबसे कम इंटरनेट वो 7 रुपए में जी हम आपको ऑल नाइट पैकेज देंगे, हर बंदा वहां पे चला गया क्योंकि प्राइस कम थी.
लेकिन रिसर्च बगैर उनको पता नहीं चल सकता था कि प्राइस पॉइंट इज व्हाट द कंज्यूमर्स आर लुकिंग फॉर. ठीक है, so excellent point. You're very brave for going after price because pricing is tricky. And my next slide actually states why are we so confused, because consumers want a lot of things at the same time and sometimes they don't know themselves what they want. Okay, so why don't you quickly fill this up? So 25% think they're saving money. Guys, this is a big myth and I'm going to debunk more myths in the classes. Okay, consumers only want to save money. Trust me, if you show them enough value, they don't want to save money. But we can talk about that in detail in our regular class. Simplification, convenience is a big trend. Excellent. Reassurance, validation, aesthetics, looks, attractiveness, brilliant. But remember, understanding a consumer's mind is going to be tricky. Others, I like the fact that you've added another option here. Okay, thank you guys. I think I'm running out of time. I wanted to debunk a few myths with you. We won't get the time to do that, but I'm just going to tell you quickly, content is king is a big myth. It doesn't matter what you're saying it. Take it. There are other factors also. Marketing drives sales, a big no. We don't market to get sales. We have other objectives. Excellent, thank you. And it is okay if you didn't know that. We're going to all break these myths in the class. I've been told that my time is up. Time just flew by. I hate stopping right now. But just one of my favorite myths. Marketing should define the next future products. No. Designing products is an engineer's job. Let them design products. You give them feedback on what the consumers want. Using your toolkit of 4 Ps, you tell them exactly what are they looking for. We don't, as marketeers, define or design products. We just help market them and create value or add value to them later on. Thank you so much. I think I will stop here. My time is up. I hate cutting a lesson in between, but thank you very much. You were a wonderful audience. If you have question and answers, you keep sending them in, and after the other session is over, we will take your questions in the end, inshallah. I hope to see you all in fall. If not, then in spring. Take care. Isha, who's next? I think Adam, you'll take over.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Hello, everybody. Okay. So, I'll talk. Let me talk for 5 minutes or 7 minutes. Okay. Okay. Everybody's saying hello. Yeah. I know. So essentially, let me talk for 5 to 7 minutes. Okay. So this was supposed to be a topic that everybody could understand. So yes, if you are SSC major, probably it will look too elementary to you. And then after that, after 5 to 7 minutes, I'll look up your questions on the chat. Okay. When I come to the laptop. Okay. So let me talk about that. Okay. There was a math boot camp last week. Okay. So essentially, if you have already attended a boot camp, this will be old hat to you. Okay. Because essentially I had to choose an elementary topic again, which everybody could understand. Okay. So apologies for that. So essentially what I'm going to talk about is a very old problem, which is essentially finding out the area. Okay. So essentially, hopefully everybody can see that. Okay. So if you have a rectangle everybody is familiar about how to find out the area of a rectangle. The intuitive meaning is that essentially the rectangle has some width, has some length, and it has some width. And the area of this rectangle is given by the length times the width. That's how you define the area of a rectangle. Okay. And then people figured out, okay, how do you define the area of a triangle? Well, they said, okay, that if you have a triangle, I can figure the area of that out by observing that this rectangle can be divided into two triangles. Okay, and these two triangles look similar. They have exactly the same area, these two triangles. And so the area of one triangle should be half of the total area of the rectangle. The total area of the rectangle is L times W. So the area of one of these triangles should be half times LW. That is where your expression for the area of a triangle, which you all memorize, that the area of triangle is half times base times height comes from. Okay, so the area of the triangle is half times base times height. Okay. And then you can generalize this to other shaped triangles. You can say that, okay, if I have a triangle that's shaped like this, then I can split this up into two right angle triangles, because what I've done over here is to write down an expression for the area of a right angle triangle. Okay, so I can divide any triangle into two right angle triangles. Okay, so I have these, and then I can find out the area of this triangle, odd shaped triangle, by adding up the areas of the two right angle triangles. Turns out if I do that, you can very easily show that the total area is simply half times the height, which is the length of this perpendicular line, times the length of this base. Okay, so the same expression applies. So that's essentially where we were at more than 2,000 years ago. Okay, so people, of course, the finding of the area directly is a problem of considerable practical importance. For example, if you want to, somebody comes along and says, okay, I want to have a plot of land which is shaped like this and that, a weird shape, you want to find out the total area. People could do that if the edges of that shape, whose area they were calculating, were straight lines. Then essentially you have you can do that. Okay, so for example, let me give you a little example. Suppose you have a hexagon. So you have a hexagon has 6 sides. So they can chop up this hexagon into a rectangle and then two triangles. And the total area of the hexagon is given by the area of the rectangle plus the area of the two triangles. The trouble started when you started looking at figures whose at least one side was a curve. Okay, so it wasn't a straight line. So for example, if you have a circle, that's a prototypical example of something whose side is not a straight line, so that you have a circle. And people also figured that out, that the area of this circle would be given by pi times the radius squared of this circle. Okay, so people again figured this out roughly 2,000 years ago. Okay, but a circle is a very special shape. What about finding out some other weird kind of area? So for example, if you have something that looks like this, how do I find out the area of this thing? People were stumped about this. Okay, and what about something that looks like this? Okay, and so on and so forth. So you can cook up all kinds of plane figures. Okay, anything that comes up in your wildest imaginations, and the objective is to find out the area of that weird looking fish. Okay, as somebody has pointed out. Okay, so how do you do that? And people were stuck, mankind actually, because if you look at the history of every civilization, any advanced civilization had a shot at this problem. Nobody could solve it. Okay, for more than 1,500 years, almost 2,000 years, nobody could solve it. Okay. The key progress to begin with was made when people observed that, okay, even if the shape is curved, even if the shape is funky, you can divide it into very small shapes, and for each of these small, let me give you a simple example. So you're probably familiar with graphs. Okay, so you have some curve that looks like that. Okay, and the objective is to calculate this area. Again, this is neither a circle nor a rectangle nor a triangle. Okay, so how do you find out this area? Well, the idea was that essentially you divide this into very, very small rectangles. So you essentially have, and so on and so forth. Okay, by finding, you can find out this area, the shaded area, by finding out the area of each of these rectangles and adding them up. Okay. Of course, you immediately say that this is not a rectangle because the top edge is still a curve. Okay. The key insight was provided that if the width of these rectangles, each of these rectangles is very small, then in that limiting case, okay, this shaded yellow area becomes almost equivalent to the area of a rectangle, because you can see that as if you have a curve, if you look at only the distance between these two nearby points, it's almost a straight line. It's no longer a curve then, okay, if you only focused on this distance. Same thing over here. If you look at these two very nearby points, which as they come closer and closer together, this shaded yellow area just becomes the area of a rectangle. Okay, let me show you that. Okay, so if I show you if I show you my screen, okay. Yeah, okay. So let me show you first. So you have this curve, which is x square. What this program does is that you have this blue line, which is that curve, okay? What this program does is that you divide this area under the curve from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to 10 into 5 equal parts, okay? So you have this first part from 0 to 2, second part from 2 to 4, third part from 4 to 6, fourth part from 6 to 8, and then fifth part from 8 to 10. For each of these intervals, you calculate the value of x square, which is the curve that you are trying to calculate, the area under the curve for which you are trying to calculate. And at the midpoint of that segment, you calculate the value of the function and multiply that with the length of this interval. That gives you essentially the area of this shaded gray rectangle, shaded gray rectangles, okay? And then the idea is that you calculate the total sum. So for each shaded rectangle, you calculate the area and you calculate the total. The idea, essentially, the key idea is that as you increase the number of rectangles, this shaded area starts to resemble the area under the blue curve more and more. So you see, yeah, the sum of the shaded rectangles is not exactly the area under the blue curve, because there's this missing area over here, that is not counted by the shaded gray rectangles, but there's this area over here which is overcompensating, okay? So essentially, if you increase it even more, so there you had 10 rectangles, let me go to 40 rectangles all of a sudden. And you see that now the shaded gray area is very closely approximating the area under the blue curve. Okay. Somebody raised their hand. Okay. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Okay. Hang on. ये आपकी audio quality इतनी अच्छी नहीं है, so I'll take your questions at the end. Okay. Okay. So as you increase it even more, so if you go to 50, for example, okay. So then people had a tool to calculate the areas. Okay, what they could do is that they could approximate any area such that the boundary was a curve by making smaller and smaller shapes whose areas they knew how to calculate, namely rectangles. Okay. Of course, this was a very, very, very tedious way of doing it, because essentially you have to calculate the total area in that way. You had to make many, many, many small rectangles, calculate the area for each of those, and then add them up. This was, of course, before any calculator. So you can see the heroic calculations involved. Okay. People really needed a shortcut, okay, in order to perform this calculation. And the shortcut was provided first in the 1960s by Isaac Newton, who essentially figured out that to calculate this area, what you actually need to do is that you just have to find out. So here I'm being a bit more technical, okay? For those of you who have done some calculus, you'll understand what I'm trying to say. You find the antiderivative, you find a function such that whose derivative is equal to this blue curve. If you can do that, then you can straight away find out the area under the curve. That's essentially what you found, okay? And this is the whole underpinning of the so-called mathematical branch of so-called calculus. Okay? Calculus essentially stands for a set of tools which simplifies your life, a calculation tools, a set of calculation tools which are there to help you to solve any problem. Okay, and there are two main branches of calculus: differential calculus and integral calculus. Okay, and essentially the discovery of Newton links these two branches together. Okay, so it provides you with a tool to calculate the area under curve, any area of any arbitrary shape. Okay, and it's not just that, because many different physical problems can also be linked to finding out areas which may not have anything to do with area to begin with. Okay, so this discovery was so important that the area under the curves are linked to rates of change, which are derivatives. That is called the fundamental theorem of calculus. And essentially, this is the apex point of your calculus course that you'll be taking in the first semester. I won't be teaching that because essentially I'm for physics, okay? But I did not really want to bore you with the basic equations of motion, okay, that you already done in high school. I wanted to tell you something that is probably a bit more surprising to you, okay? That essentially, how do you find out an area under curve, okay? So essentially, that's where I'll stop, okay? Because if I go on, I'll become much more technical, okay? I want to, of course, I have not really presented any mathematical proof. That I leave for the course itself, okay? But hopefully, I've given you a flavor of the problem, the fundamental problem, so-called, of calculus, your course that is going to come up in your first semester, and essentially the way to solve it, okay? Not the way to solve it, the solution itself, okay? So hopefully you have a good time in your first semester, okay? Okay, so that's essentially it for me. Okay.
All right, guys, you've gotten a flavor of two very different courses from two different schools. The idea was not to teach you the content. The idea was to show you that online classes are fun, there is learning, and you can engage actively if you're prepared. And there is much to take away from it. Do you have any questions for us? There were only 2 questions, which I've already answered. If you'd like to ask anything else, me and Adam are here. How much time do we have, Isha, for question answers? I think we have roughly 12 minutes. You want to know anything about assessments, about attendance, about grading, and we can quickly answer those for you. Okay. Adam, आपको भी question answers नजर आ रहे होंगे. If you think you can pick one, you can. All our classes live or recorded. I'll take this one. Manur, every instructor would have a healthy balance of online and offline classes. Our idea is that even if you miss an online class, the recording later on should be enough for you to go through it at your own time. If you've missed a graded component during the online class, then the instructor can make options or opportunities for you to make up later on. So hopefully if you can't attend an online class, you'll be able to make up. In the actual classes, are we mandated to turn on cameras? Ahmed, sometimes when there is class discussion or where the instructor wants to see you. Otherwise, if I see you online and you're reading and you're participating, sometimes I allow for switching off cameras also. But the idea here is that if you're ready in front of the computer, why not, right? We do it all the time because we want you to see that we are actively engaged. So sometimes if the classes are smaller and we want a discussion, a heated discussion, then we ask you to switch on cameras. Adam, you want to take any questions?
Yeah, sure. What's the attendance policy? The general instructions are that essentially attendance is not mandatory, okay, by and large. But of course, you are very strongly encouraged to attend all sessions. Okay, we do recognize that essentially you will sometimes you will have internet problems, sometimes you will have other problems. Okay, so it's not possible to attend each and every session, and yeah. The recording thing that varies a lot from instructor to instructor. So we don't have a blanket kind of policy throughout the schools or even throughout even within one department. Every instructor will be having some different policy regarding that. Okay, but by and large, attendance will generally not be graded. Okay,
and we can assess your attendance through other means. So you don't have to show up in a class. You can submit a commentary on the paper that was shared to you, or you did your assignments and submitted before class. So I will mark you present for those also. So we have creative ways of marking and measuring attendance. Someone's asking about labs. The last I heard was that all the labs
have
been shifted to spring. So in fall, we are not relying heavily on labs at all. Do not worry about that. It's taken care of. ठीक है. Class participation is not difficult at all. In fact, when we had live classes or physical classes, students would tell me that they're shy and they don't want to speak up. So I think they just have more options now. You can write in the chat box, you can do the assignments. We will have live discussion forums on LMS. 24/7, you can just leave a comment whenever you think you want to add to the class, and the TA would grade you there according to your participation. So I think if anything, it's become more easy. We paid lab charges. I'm sure you'll get the labs for those also. Don't
Will
worry.
the instructors teach us from scratch or not? Yeah, by and large, yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
by and large, we do assume that essentially, if you did learn anything in high school, you have already forgotten it. So
Libraries. Yeah, right now, the way I am using libraries is I tell them the book I want and they deliver it at the front gate and I go pick them up. So that's how we're using it. And we've tried to make quiet corners in our homes to read up. Unfortunately, that's the situation. Okay? So unless they can give you PDF, online PDFs are also being provided by libraries. So you can read it online also, but that's a bit of a gray area right now. Will all communications, assignments we communicate through online portal? Hassan, that depends on your faculty. So all faculties have different comfort level with different platforms. So sometimes it's emails, sometimes it's online portals, but we all encourage to use one portal, which is our LMS. Sakai is a very comprehensive portal. So within a few weeks, you'll be very accustomed to that portal. And we encourage that all of them should be sending you updates and assignments through the portal, unless somebody really wants to use another platform. It's rare, but it does happen. So anonymous attendee is asking, assessments will be MCQs. Some of them would be MCQs, but not all, of course, because we test different things. So yes, it's going to be a mix of different assessment techniques. Adam, ye Shahid ka question hai, do we need to be adept at A-levels, physics, chemo, bio for their 100, 101 courses? Can you take that?
no, of course you have to be adept. You have to become adept after the course, hopefully, but you don't have to be adept before the course. So as in it's understood that like I said, you start from teaching from scratch, okay? But if you're quick in picking up new concepts, then it shouldn't be a problem. For most students, there's at least one course which they have never learned before. So for example, if you did math, physics, and chemistry, you wouldn't have taken biology most probably. Or computer science, for example. Many people have not taken computer science in the A-levels, and many people have not taken biology in the A-levels, and the biology students have not taken maths in the A-levels. So there's always one subject in which you haven't taken before.
So college is tough, guys. You'll have to pull up, and yes, you use your friends to help study and pull up issues. Will our grades rely more on class participation assignments now? I can tell you this about assessments, that you'll have to be more involved and engaged. Previously, we just had to show up and we would test you and you'd write something and give it to us and go back. Now we'll make you do more work, more research, more homework, more participation, more projects. But the good news is that the grading is very small. So percentage has decreased. From a 20% project, we'll give you a 5% or a 7% for a project. And so we've increased the number of assessments, but the grading or the percentage attached is smaller. So it's easier for you to make up on missed quizzes, missed projects, and submit something in return. So don't worry, it's going to be a healthy mix. Someone's asking, how should we contact our teachers? Guys, you will get course outlines, and every instructor has told you the best way to contact them in the course outlines. So whatever works for them, some would make WhatsApp groups, some would prefer email, some would prefer LMS. So go through course outlines and then make up your mind that how are you going to approach that instructor. How will the exams be conducted? In STSP, we do it online. Either I'll have a case study. Adam can talk about exams in his school a bit.
It varies a lot from instructor to instructor. So many people give take-home exams. So essentially those are again questions. They make sure that essentially the problems, you cannot find the solutions online easily, okay? And they essentially make up the questions themselves. So many other instructors give you a project at the end of the semester. So it varies a lot from instructor to instructor. Usually most instructors take all these tools together. So essentially there'll be a little project at the end of the semester, there'll be a little take-home exam, there'll be a little take-home midterm, so to speak. assignment
the
the
traditional
assignment.
final exam खत्म हो जाएगा, जो heavy final
Of
exam
course.
होता था ना at the end of the course, वो
Right,
खत्म हो
right,
जाएगा.
right.
So we will break it up into multiple smaller assessment methodologies. ठीक है, guys, you're asking questions that I'm not sure.
It's even more important, I think, that essentially that you have to keep with the class. Okay, don't fall behind, because there's going to be even more continuous assessment now.
Dawood, your first official exam would depend on which course have you enrolled in and what are their timelines. It is very important that you guys structure and make calendars for your assessments and whatever's due and the timeline for your courses that you've taken. Okay? Otherwise, there's a chance that you will mess up. But don't worry, your teachers will tell you when the exams start. How can I see this lecture later as it is recorded? So I'm sure the Office of Advancement would send out an email with links and all. You'll get to see the other classes maybe also that are being conducted parallel to this. Midterms, again, no specific timeline, guys. Do instructors teach basics of integration and derivation in Math 101 or not? Adam, all yours.
Yes, of course. They start from limits, okay? They start 2 steps behind that.
Don't worry. Now you're in, we will pull you up and we'll make sure that you have the right base or foundation set to understand the concepts. Just stop worrying and anxiety ko piche chhod dein, or just come with a fresh mind. Okay. Anything else that I've missed, guys? There's so many questions. Can we talk about online learning and class specific tools only so that we can answer? Can we choose our courses, or are they given by school for the first semester? No, I think that if according to your major, there are some compulsory courses, but then you do get to choose. For freshmen, there's less choice, but as you go higher up or later on, you get more choices to choose from. Dawood, we don't know when's your first official exam. It depends on which courses you're taking.
The exams also have been spread over 2 weeks rather than 1 week. So because essentially each exam is now has a longer schedule time, because most of the exams are take-home exams. So it's understood that if you were going to give 3 hours for an exam, if the student was sitting in front of you, then you have to give him 6 or 7 hours now for the take-home exam.
The course outlines should be available very soon, guys. Very, very soon. There will be no exams like we used to have in high school end of term. It depends on instructors entirely.
Depends on the instructor, of course.
Yes, but we are discouraging heavy exams, which means ek exam 30% ka na ho, because then there's a lot of pressure on you to perform. Okay? So we want smaller percentages and smaller assessments. Are we allowed to switch instructors, or are we meant to stay with the forced enroll ones? I don't know what that means. So usually you will have sometimes multiple instructors teaching the same course because there's volume of students and all of them are equally good. But you can, I think, check for reviews from your seniors about instructors and then enroll in the right section. I don't think
you don't need to, because most of the different, so they're essentially talking about that there's a course which is being offered in 2 different sections, and the 2 different sections have 2 different instructors, okay, and usually वो सारे अपने senior से पूछते हैं कौन सा बेहतर है, कौन सा नरम दिल है, उसके पास चले जाते हैं. So you don't need to, okay. Essentially the grading is done together. The dividing into sections. So I am teaching a course and it is being co-taught by somebody else as well. We're going to make the final exam together. We're going to grade it together. Okay. We're going to make each graded component together. We're going to grade it together as well. Okay. We are both going to record our videos and we are both going to upload them. So you just pick and choose which instructor you prefer, and it's the same syllabus, of course, because we're going to make the final exam together. So you just pick and choose who you like better and just listen to those lectures if you want. Okay.
So yes, you don't get to choose instructors or change in the middle of the term, because essentially they're very similar and they're going to be teaching very similarly also. So don't worry, just adapt. Okay. Okay, Aaron, there are lots of technical questions. If you can look at the Q&A session.
Yeah.
They're worried about math.
You should not be worried about math because we gave you a whole boot camp on math. Okay. Some of the labs which are part of a theoretical course. So there's some theory course. These are called essentially generally 2+1 courses. So it's a 3 credit hour course. 2 credit hours are for the theory and 1 credit hour is for the lab. Okay. Those labs are going ahead in some cases, because usually those courses are very low enrollment, so you can actually have those labs with appropriate social distancing. Okay. But I don't think in freshman year you have any of those labs, so you don't need to worry about those. At least in SSA you don't. Okay. So probably you have heard some seniors say that okay, he's going to have a lab. Okay, but that's a separate case.
Okay. So what you need to know is that your assessments will be smaller in sizes, percentages. They'll be different. If you can't make it to the class, there will material be available offline that you can listen to, you can read, you can prepare. You will have discussion groups. At STSP, we have 5 to 6 students ka group, which we keep circulating. So if somebody misses 2 classes, they can easily pull their class fellow up, and if tell him or share the notes with him or her what they missed. So it's not really about missing out. As long as you're serious about learning and you follow up diligently, there's a lot of help in the system. Okay, we won't leave you behind. Sufyan is saying, I need to ask a question from Ms. Sarah on mic, but there are a lot of people in the meeting. Can I talk to her for just 1 minute when the session is about to end or everyone leaves? Sufyan, why don't you just unmute yourself right now and ask? Minimum courses are different for each school, somebody asked in the Q&A. So Sufyan, go ahead, open your mic. I'm waiting for your question.
मैम मुझे एक सवाल बस पूछना था. कैन यू हियर मी?
यस आई कैन.
मैम सेशन के स्टार्ट में जब आपने मार्केटिंग का वो बता रही थी कि हमें कस्टमर का आपने बताया कि कस्टमर हमें वो प्रोवाइड करना चाहिए जो कस्टमर चाहता है, व्हाट कस्टमर नीड. तो अगर हम ये सिचुएशन अभी लाउंज में लाएं तो हमें भी उस चीज के लिए पे करना चाहिए ना, व्हाट वी आर गेटिंग लाउंज इज प्रूव.
Let me मुझे एक क्वेश्चन का आंसर करें. What's the product that you're getting at LUMS? What are we selling?
फिलहाल तो पढ़ाई
नहीं पूरा whole package. What are we selling?
अभी हमने 6 महीने के लिए पे किया ना मैम. I'm talking about that.
So after 6 months you'll go somewhere else and you'll buy something else from us?
No. After 6 months तो on campus होगा और उसके हिसाब से वो होगा ना. Like if we say if we aren't getting labs, so isn't that fair that we shouldn't pay for just
I feel your pain. I'm an alumni myself. There's nothing better than I'd like to go back to campus more and have especially in fall and winters, I love having classes outdoors. Trust me, I am equally hurt and upset about the situation, but I am sure you guys are sensible enough to realize it's a global pandemic. Things are much more serious than we are actually realizing. You might not get sick, but if you're a carrier and if you bring those germs back home, somebody older in your family or younger in your family can easily catch it from you. It's not worth it. We understand it's a big miss, but it's not worth the risk you guys are willing to take. Maybe it's your age. Maybe it's that kind of a, that urge to go back to campus. Hum sab mein hai wo. Trust me, this is not an ideal or optimum situation. Winners are those who are going to use this situation to the best of their ability and use this. So if you people are wise and intelligent, as I think you are going to... Sufyan, I understand about the fee. Unfortunately, out of 8 or 10 semesters, we can't just slash one of them and then go back full time. So it's going to be a very difficult situation, but it's not in my hands. As an instructor, I can tell you this is not a permanent situation. We will go back. And I really hope that in the next 4 years, you will find the worth of the money that you're spending here. I really do. We are working very hard to make sure that we make it up to you. And you don't feel as if you've spent money and not gotten any value in return. It's our promise. You will see some value. It's not a lot. And this is going to be a very unique batch. You guys have come in at a very special moment, a turning point. We will collectively make a brilliant example out of that. Okay? So stay with me and work with us. I hope to see you guys in one of our classes very soon. Guys, our time is almost up. Isha, tell us.
एक आखिरी अगर मैं कर दूं, because all of you will be very worried about the grading. तो उसके परेशान ना हो. I mean, we haven't spent our whole summer vacation twiddling our thumbs, okay? उसके बारे में काफी कुछ हमने काम किया है. So मैं अपने बारे में बताऊं. For example, अगर आप शायद परेशान होंगे सर कोई take home exam देखो. So take home exam are essentially our open book exam. I'll upload the PDF file containing the questions to LMS, and essentially you are supposed to send me the solutions before some designated time. So इसका essentially there'll be different versions of that to begin with. So आपके for instance अगर 200 लोगों की क्लास है तो it will like 20-25 different versions of the questions. Okay, so it will be not it won't be very easy to cheat. Okay, in that sense कि भाई आप कोई WhatsApp ग्रुप बना लिया, एक दूसरे से मदद मांग रहे हो कि यार तुमने क्वेश्चन 2 कर लिया, तुम भेज दो, उसकी पिक्चर भेज दो, मैं भी कर लूं, because the question 2 for that guy will be different from your question. Okay, so इतनी आसान चीटिंग नहीं होगी. दूसरी बात ये कि हम टाइम भी बड़े सोच समझ के आपको दिया करेंगे सारों को कि भाई टाइम इतना हो कि आपसे अपना ही वो हो जाए तो बहुत बड़ी बात होगी. किसी दूसरे का करना तो मेहरबानी किसी दूसरे पे करने का शायद आपके पास टाइम वैसे ही नहीं होगा. तो उस लिहाज से we have spent a lot of time making all the different types of questions. और एक दफा before making a judgment कभी online teaching और ये वो it's going to be different experience sure, but it's not going to be necessarily a bad experience. एक दफा try तो करके देख लो.
Trust us. We would leave you on this last note कि हम trust करें हमारे ऊपर, स्कूल पर, हमारी abilities पर to take care of your learning and come in with an open mind. ठीक है? I am very excited to welcome all of you, and I think we have a fruit discussion going on in the chat, and Q&As are also full. I will keep on answering as I go through this, and you will be getting those answers and those responses. Thank you, guys. Isha, can we close the classroom now?
Yes, sir, absolutely.